The focus of this video will be on the loft command within SolidWorks, found up here in our SolidWorks page. Basically, the idea behind this is we are taking one shape, so in this case my hexagon, and we are moving it, and as we expand it and we extrude it into being, we're actually bringing it and turning it into a different shape. So this is the idea of stacking all of the different post-it notes on top of each other, but as the post-it notes are stacked, they are slowly switching from square post-it notes to circular post-it notes. So with this, in order to do this, we're again just going to be selecting our two or more faces right over here, and we can move directly between them. And by default, it should be a fairly smooth transition between the two. So we can see we started with a hexagon, we ended with our circle here. Now within this, we do have the ability to change our start and end points. So as a portion of the shape moves from one area to another, so if I pause here for a second, we can see that this point on the hexagon, as it is being brought up, is moving to there. This point is moving to here, and so on and so forth. And with this, we do have the ability to modify this. We can modify it and change individual pieces. We can modify it and change the overall trend, which is what we saw originally, but we have the ability to change this by hand. And this will work if you have points on your shapes that you can grab on, but we're going to actually look at a little bit more robust way to do this that will actually be a little bit more self-sustaining. You can modify it in sketches instead of dragging around little dots on your piece. Before we get into that, I did say that when we're working with lofts, we are working with two or more shapes, so we can actually move through a series of shapes, and that's what I'm trying to show here. In addition, you're seeing that this top shape is actually not directly vertical from it. We do have a slight offset to the left as it goes up, and so we still have our pieces going from one shape to the next shape to the next, except in this case we are actually moving a little bit from our center. So it is not just a straight up extrude. We have a little bit of an angled, a little bit of a swept type feel to it, but we are moving from one shape to the next, and one location to the next, just like we were talking about earlier. Okay. With this, last thing that we want to talk about with our lofts is in how to actually add a path for them. So we looked at moving the start and end positions. That works fine when you want just a quick fix, but if you want something a little bit more exact, you probably want to add some sketches on your piece for it to follow. So what this is guide curves. So what I'm doing here is I'm selecting this piece here, and in a second we'll see that we now no longer have our nice symmetric piece. So what's actually happened is I selected this guide curve, which started as a point on this on the hexagon here and ended as a point on the circle here. And what I'm trying to show here, I don't know how visible it is, but that line right there that I just tried to overlap with is the exact curve that I had drawn. So I said that that curve is the curve that it takes to move from this point on the hexagon to this point on the circle. And it said, okay, I'll follow that curve. Now with this, we can add extra pieces. So I add a bunch of little guys here, and we can see that each of these different lines is actually following through and changing the shape. So I chose a bunch of similar ones to start here. But with this, each and every one that I'm highlighting here is a different piece, and it is following the outside of my shape. I'm actually going to jump ahead a little bit here. But this last piece that I'm selecting is I select something that's just absolutely ridiculous. Instead of changing a smooth shape, I don't have anything going on as far as my piece being tangent or anything like that. I just chose to say that from my hexagon, I'm going straight out an angle, and I'm choosing another angle and coming straight back in. I'm still ending at a point and starting at a point between my two objects. And so I added that to my loft, and since it's a point to a point, and there's no horizontal, no perpendicular to the extrude, quote unquote, direction, it went ahead and it created my part for me with that shape. So I can do a bunch of weird things, a lot of flexibility with this command. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Take care.